Good morning, everyone. As you see, we are one short from having a quorum, so I won't gavel in, but what we will do, if our good friends at ADOT is ready, we'll go ahead and move the presentation up to the top of the agenda so we can have it. And then when we get a quorum, we'll gavel in for official business. So is my commissioner here, or did he step out? Yes, sir. We're moving you to the top till we get a quorum, so we want to keep moving. Thank you.
Department of Transportation Commissioner. Thanks for having us here today. I have my entire team with us, and we're going to roll through this presentation and talk about our projects. Okay, so today we'll just speak to capital projects first across the city, state of good repair, our strategy and planning highlights, support services and partnerships, and other activities for moving Atlanta forward. So just illustrate our leadership team. We have our deputy commissioners, Betty Smoot-Madison, Lenore Bromberg, Alan Smith, chief of staff, Lisa Glover, chief of administration, Pierre Johnson, and our new chief communications officer, Ronnie Price. And we are in the market for deputy commissioner for capital delivery, but we're looking forward to filling that soon. So I'll just jump into vision and mission. We deliver a standard of excellence with consistent quality and value for safety, equity, and mobility throughout the city. Our mission is to design, deliver, and maintain an efficient multimodal transportation system that provides Atlanta residents, commuters, and visitors safe, equitable access within and to the city in alignment with the Atlanta Transportation Plan, which we will be updating in 2025. Some of our core values speak to safety. It's our highest priority. We're providing high-quality customer service, and we're stewards of public money, transparency, and in an accountable fashion. Also, we're committed to being the most valuable resource, our employees. So let's jump right into capital projects across the city. Many of these you're familiar with. Cascade Complete Streets has been on the docket for a while, and we have finally gotten momentum with that project. We've been coordinating with our utilities and our contractor to expedite that work, and if you've been out on Cascade recently, it is moving forward. We're seeing some tangible improvements. Howell Mill Complete Streets is ongoing. We started that last year, and we're looking at an 18-month timeline. Should be complete as we approach 2025, early 26. We have bike lanes, protected bike lanes through a very busy corridor, new surface, curbing, sidewalks, and signal improvements along that stretch. Joseph Lowry Complete Streets has kicked off. We have sidewalks. If you've been on Joseph E. Lowry, you see all the progress, ADA ramp improvements, driveway aprons, granite curbs, and sidewalk installations. Ralph David Abernathy Complete Streets is wrapping up. We're almost done there. We're just doing some punch list work, and it looks really nice. Juniper Complete Streets project is ongoing. We're partnering with Midtown Alliance, and we have sidewalk improvements with bike lanes and parking facilities and granite curbs and ADA ramp improvements. Fifth Street Complete Streets has another Midtown Alliance project that we're coordinating with, and that project is wrapping up. However, we have some signal improvements, but the green bike lanes look amazing, and many of those protected, and we have repaving along that corridor. Spring Street Viaduct replacement. This is the MLK connector over to The sports complex in the Gulch, that project has started. We are looking to extend all the way down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium with improvements on MLK, but that's a long-standing project, and we are also including bike connectivity over to the sports complex. DeKalb Avenue is in punch list and should be finished by the end of this month. We're making sure that everything is smooth out on DeKalb. And Bolton Road improvements include sidewalks, new sidewalk installations, signalization improvements along the corridor. We are wrapping that up this month over in District 9. Unpaved roads, Phase 1, we have Brayburn Drive, that's complete. Hirsch Street is currently being paved this week, and we're looking to move into Phase 2 at the beginning of 2025. Phillips Boulevard, Waika Road roundabout, crews are out, already started work, and we're looking forward to seeing the impacts of that design and that project in District 7. Campbellton resurfacing. We have some exciting news. Serendipitous that the council member Overstreet has joined us right in time. So that work has started this morning. So we're looking forward to having a new and improved, beautiful Campbellton Road here in the next few weeks. So some of projects that you're familiar with that aren't included here is our resurfacing program across the city. We have an equitable resurfacing program that covers all districts. We've reframed our resurfacing with the help of the state so that we at least cover a half a mile to manage that in the most efficient way with our contractors. And I will mention that the resurfacing program has kicked off, and the next 3 quarters we'll be spending upwards of $24 million around the city. Path 400 Foundation and Atlantic Beltline, we're working on the Miami Circle project and Waika Road to Loredans. But I'd like to speak about the 10th Street and Monroe Drive project. So resurfacing and asphalt went down last night. November 1st or thereabouts, we look to finish the Monroe intersection where the Beltline crosses over to the northeast extension, and we're working with the Beltline to get that finished off. So we're really excited about the delivery of that project. And this is just a technology and innovation highlight we thought we'd mention. We have 90 IKE kiosks around the city that provide emergency service access and information to tourists and people around the city. 25% of that, those installations will go to underserved communities throughout the city. So we're really excited about what IKE has brought to our city in terms of innovation. We've gone as far as worked with the state, and the state is installing a number of those signs and boards throughout the city in anticipation of World Cup in 2026. And we are partnering with AIM. But the highlight here is we brought in $1.6 million so far through the revenue program associated with the IKEs. And Councilmember Overstreet and the Atlanta Department of Transportation have been working on improvements. If you've been out on 285 in Cascade, you'll see all the beautiful work that's going on, which should be complete by November. So that is ongoing. This just highlights, by way of geography, the type of projects and the projects that are ongoing throughout the city. So in Southwest Atlanta, we have Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. We have citywide resurfacing. Again, Campbellton Road will start today, or is starting today. Ralph David Abernathy, complete streets in Southwest. We have Cascade, which can be considered central and Southwest. Campbellton Road pedestrian improvements is ongoing. Macon Drive on the southeast side and citywide traffic signal upgrades will be throughout the city, but will have a major impact on southeast Atlanta. What you don't see here is projects that are in the hopper, if you will. I'll say Browns Mill, we are working that design so we can get that out. I know that's a very serious and important improvement to Southeast Atlanta. And University Avenue will be resurfaced. So we're looking to bring some fresh asphalt out to University Avenue, a major east-west corridor. Howell Mill, complete streets I mentioned, Bankhead Highway overhead bridge demolition for that connection between Northside Drive and Georgia Tech. We also have MLK bridge netting installation under Centennial Olympic Park Drive and MLK, considering we've had some structural challenges there. But I mentioned the Spring Street connector for MLK over to the Sports District, and 15th Street extension is happening. I will mention that 10th Street bridge over the connector. Those improvements are starting with Midtown Alliance. So we're really getting going on some of those longstanding anticipated projects. In Northwest, we have a number of projects, intersection improvements, West Paces Ferry. Resurfacing is wrapping up. We're just making sure safety installations are installed. Mount Perrin, we're wrapping that up with a couple improvements to that work, and we have our resurfacing program that will touch on District 9. I will wrap some of our construction projects up with Piedmont Road capacity improvements expected to be complete here in the relative future. And I mentioned Waika Road, but Lenox Road corridor improvements are ongoing, and also the Fulton Southside Trail work is ongoing. I just want to put a pin in the trails program because there's so much work happening with PATH and PATH 400 to keep the trails and connect the Chattahoochee. So that work is ongoing, and there's a lot of exciting work happening there. Top 5 service requests that we see: potholes, emergency traffic signal repairs, obviously non-emergency signal repairs, concrete sidewalk, small inspections, and emergency repair for replacement of signs. This slide highlights the work orders closed. So you see a whole lot of red on here, but that just speaks to service delivery on time. However, going to the new CRM, ATL 311 program, we will be able to sift through those duplicates. This data needs to be scrubbed, and we need to see how real some of these requests are, because what we find is we get a number of duplicate requests in, and that will be cleaned up. But potholes is obviously a highlight of this slide. This does not speak to the gap in terms of the service delivery. It just speaks to the on-time delivery. And there's an analysis as part of CRM and our ongoing operations relative to if those service delivery timelines are fair. So we'll be working with council to think about our workforce, our operations, and if these SLAs actually are in line with our ability to maintain our infrastructure. And again, state of good repair, our goal is 30 potholes a day. We have quadrupled our pothole posse, and we've actually brought in contractors because we've been dealing with a lot relative to emergency response and support throughout 2024. It's been a really busy year. So you'll see here, we have stayed on top of our SLAs and our pothole, and actually exceeded our pothole numbers. 27,000 since the mayor started. This is our Light Up the Night. We are lighting up the night in the city of Atlanta, working with our Georgia Power partners. We are wrapping up our phase 4, so our residents and council should notice a substantial difference in visibility as it relates to impacts to safety and crime around the city. We're working with APD to look at our crime statistics, and we should be wrapping up our phase 4 work with Georgia Power Q1 of 2025. We are at thereabouts 15,000 of the 20,000 lights that are either being converted or installed. So hats off to Georgia Power and all the work they do to support us in terms of lighting up the night. Atlanta Streets Alive, a signature program. We brought it to the south side. We brought it from Gordon White Park to Grant Park along RDA and Georgia Avenue. Just this past September, we encourage everyone listening, everyone here to join us on this Sunday as we're back out on the road. It has been one of the most successful activities in partnership with Propel ATL, and we found since we brought it to the south side on September 15th, we had almost 15,000 folks come out. So it was a huge success, and the weather wasn't pretty. So it was a huge success, and we're looking forward to those numbers climbing this Sunday. So I want to encourage everyone to come on out, and we have T-shirts for you. We hear the weather's supposed to go back up, so hopefully, we brought T-shirts for you. So Hurricane Helene. Everyone has been impacted by Helene, and I just want to give a thank you to all of my staff, everyone here who participated in Hurricane Helene and making sure the city was safe. Obviously, you see national news. Others weren't as fortunate as City of Atlanta. Our crews were out getting those trees out of the way, working with Georgia Power to get power back on. It's a phenomenal job, and they did it with enthusiasm. They're exhausted through the process, but did an amazing job. And with my experience in the Northeast, I was beyond impressed with the emergency response and everything that was done for Hurricane Helene, one of those once-in-a-lifetime storms. And as we move Atlanta forward, I just want to say Vision Zero safety improvements are a top priority in the department, and our social media platform numbers have gone through the roof. If you haven't noticed, the presence of ATL DOT on social media and in the community has substantially improved. And just a couple Sundays ago, to kick off Pride Week, we were out on 10th in Piedmont and had an amazing event with the improvements to the intersection representing the LGBTQIA plus community with the stripes. So thank you all for your support and allowing us to be a part of that, because it means everything. And thinking of safety, safety is inclusion. So with that, I just want to share with everyone our handles for getting more of this information, and please, we encourage you to stay involved and informed as it relates to all the activities here in transportation in the City of Atlanta, state's capital. And with that, I will take questions and look forward to continuing our great work together.
Okay, so as we line up for questions, what I would like to do is officially call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. The day is Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. Transportation Committee members, joined by committee members, Councilmember Wan, my Vice Chair, Councilmember Overstreet, Councilmember Faroki, Councilmember Lewis, and we're also joined by Councilmember Westmoreland as well. So with that being done, let's see who is first up. I guess I do need, I need to adopt the agenda, make a motion to approve the agenda. Motion has been made and seconded by Councilmember Overstreet. Open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The agenda is adopted, and I think we can jump back into the presentation. First up is Councilmember.
Mr. Chair, can we approve the minutes before we jump into questions?
Okay. Second, motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Minutes have been approved. Now we can jump into questions, Councilmember Overstreet.
So I am, first of all, I do want to also jump in, so I won't forget to give kudos to the administration, every department during the hurricane. We had those rapid response meetings, Zooms or Teams or what have you, several times a day, so that things wouldn't fall through the cracks. All the departments were talking about real time, what was actually happening, so that they could respond. It was an actual phenomenal response to a terrible situation. I actually got direct calls from like Georgia Power during the day in the middle of the crisis when I was calling with pictures from my constituents directly to Georgia Power. They were there like within an hour. Parks and Recs was working with Georgia Power on some of the larger trees. It really was an excellent response to a terrible situation. So I do want to join you in that. When we do have those types of wins, I want to make sure that you know that it was very well noticed. And just being on those team meetings, listening to each one of you all go back and forth, all of the different departments coordinating, I felt very confident in the way that we were handling that situation on so many streets. You know, we are the city in the forest, and our trees fell. They really fell, and you all handled it. So thank you for that. I also, so this is going to be a little fluff for you today from me, which probably never happens, and I am, you know, sorry that that's our relationship, but I know that the Campbellton Road people, not just the people that live directly on Campbellton, but Campbellton really is a connector. It goes from Douglasville all the way to Main Street. It's going to be so many people that's going to notice that after 30 plus years, we are doing something about the condition of Campbellton Road. And I have you directly to thank for that, for hearing me during one of our meetings, and for us sitting down with the mayor, just us, and having a true conversation about what needed to be done, and you got right on it. So thank you for that. Can you say out loud right now, though, that Cascade will be a two-way? No one believes me. They think that it's being narrowed so much that it's not going to be a two-way. If we could just say that out loud.
Cascade Road will not be a single direction, but a two-way roadway to make room for all.
Okay, so can you say Cascade will be a two-way?
Cascade will not be, no, Cascade will be a two-way roadway, Councilmember.
Right, so, you know, I know that we've gone through so many community engagements about Cascade Road, Complete Streets, dating back to like 2017, and it's always been a two-way. We talked about why it's going to be way more narrow than it ever been. We want it to be a multimodal kind of street, not just for cars, and we certainly want to slow the cars down on Cascade Road, where 35 is going to be a comfortable driving speed. It's not going to be 55 or 60, because right this moment, well, not right now because it's a double detour, but right this moment, or, you know, last year this time, everyone felt comfortable driving 70 miles per hour on Cascade Road, and that's no longer going to be the case. So I know it's going to be a two-way. I do appreciate the round-the-clock work that's happening on the Complete Streets now, and I cannot wait to completion. So I look forward to seeing you on Friday on Campbellton Road. I'm excited about that. And with that, I'm going to yield. I'm not going to even dive into this. I will meet you on the other side, like in my office, with a couple other numbers, okay? I'll keep it all groovy. Thank you.
Next speaker, Councilmember Lewis.
I think I'll be the opposite. I'll go through completely the packet. Thank you so much for this presentation today, and the sheets that you gave us, even extra sheets. The two that I wanted to see if we could start similar to the Cascade Road, when the plan you rolled it out to the community, would be Brownsmere Road, University Avenue. I know we've approved the funding. I know we've done everything else, but the community don't know they have not been informed what's going on. So I would like to do the big programs in which we invite the community out with the slideshows for Cleveland Avenue, Brownsmere Road, and University Ave. So that's 3 projects. I want to make sure that the community knows everything that's about to happen over there. there's still a pothole in Cleveland Avenue that's so big and it's been there so long that it's on the Google Maps, right? If you go to Google Maps, and I rode Cleveland Avenue with the Department of Transportation, they said it was watershed fault. I rode with Watershed, they said it was transportation fault. I just want it fixed. It's been there so long. If you go to Google Map, and I've shown it to your department on Google's map, it's still there. I have to ride around it. I live down there. I pass by it every single day. Every day there's almost an accident right there. Capital projects across the city. The two I don't see on there are Cleveland Avenue, University Avenue. And I would like to see if there's, what steps do we need to be a part of this plan? What do we not need to do to be a part of this plan?
So just before you enter, hello, Councilmember Lewis. It's good to see you.
Yes.
And before you came in, I mentioned that what's not listed on here and will be included as part of our outreach also is the University Avenue resurfacing, which we should see this year. So we'll go out and have that conversation with the community. And we're trying to get the ART program out the door with MARTA for Cleveland and Metropolitan. So we'll give an update there. And Browns Mill is finished scoping. We're in design, and we're going to expedite that for getting the work out to a contractor.
I want to make sure we include the community portion in it. I've been working with your office in an amazing way. Ms. Carla Smith, former council member Carla Smith, she's been working with my community on a lot of things on that. If we can do the community meeting out loud, I want what Councilmember Overstreet had. Whatever the rollout was, I want the mailings. I want my community to know what's about to happen. So I love that what y'all did. I love it.
Yeah.
I want what they got. The South Side Belt, the PAV 400 Foundation and Atlanta Beltline, want to make sure that the community know that the South Side was completed first on the Beltline, and it was the portion that they weren't working on 4 years ago. And so we've been able to find funding to get the South Side Beltline completed. I would like some mailings to go out from your department.
We will work with Beltline.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would like to note that way we're promoting the work that we did on the South Side a little bit more. We don't want to die with a secret. Pie in the sky on that is that we continue with the projects to try to get South Atlanta to the Beltline. My goal since I've been elected is to make sure, and the goal of the Beltline is to reach the airport. You don't get to the airport without going through District 12 a couple of times. And so my goal is that we start working on that now. We don't wait until people have moved, right? The pie in the sky for the Beltline to get to the airport, I know they can get it done. So we want to get that while we're living there. Pittsburgh, the Ike Smart City installation, Pittsburgh got one. And that's on McDaniel Street. So we're extremely excited about the McDaniel business corridor getting the Ike Smart City IKEA. So thankful for that, and thankful for Metropolitan and Cleveland Avenue being highlighted as well, because the South Side typically doesn't get these highlights.
And Councilmember, I'm sorry, don't mean to interrupt you. Signalization throughout the South Side corridors are a priority for us also. So we're going to be improving flow along some of your main corridors. It's very complex in District 12.
And two more pages. Once again, potholes, state of good repair. The one on Cleveland Avenue is on the maps. It's literally on Google Maps, so it has to be a priority to the city of Atlanta. It's been there too long. I need it fixed.
Yeah, we'll find it.
I don't know if it's watershed or transportation, but if y'all work together, we can get it done.
It doesn't matter.
The lighting in Smart City, Light Up the Night, Browns Mill Road, looks like a third world country at nighttime. There's a curve, there's a couple of curves on Browns Mill Road that you can't see anything at night. So Browns Mill Road. And lastly, Atlanta Streets Alive. I knew that would happen. I knew it. I knew 15,000 people would come. I think even more would come out if we promoted a little bit more. There's a way to go even further south. Jonesboro Road, Metropolitan, Cleveland Avenue. We can't wait until you come a little bit further south on it as well. So thank you again for this, but look forward to you coming even further south, because the south side of the city of Atlanta wants to participate as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Chairman Amos. Thank you, Commissioner Cavanis. I appreciate these updates, particularly on the capital projects. These complete street slides, helpful. What would be more helpful is if there's and I know these are moving targets, and we've all experienced frustration with stated dates of completion, but if there is any sort of timeline that can be provided for these, that'd be helpful.
Okay, sure.
And I'm asking specifically regarding projects in my district, but this applies for all the projects listed here as well. Any sense of when Juniper will be done? I know that's a Midtown Alliance collaboration, but it's been a year or so of work and kind of goes and fits and starts, and there's still some rough spots along it.
Yeah. So that's a partnership with Midtown Alliance, and we're scheduled for mid to end 25. I'll reach out to Midtown and see if there's anything in terms of at least getting to substantial completion in a reasonable time, and we'll communicate that with you.
Thank you. DeKalb Avenue safety improvements. One, it's DeGrasse Avenue, not DeGrasse Street, just on here, just make sure y'all are not going to make up some new street and miss the area. But have the permanent bike facilities, the bike protections been put in yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. And yeah, I appreciate y'all addressing this. There's been some residual confusion at those intersections on who goes where, and so I appreciate the attention.
Hence the time extension
Yeah.
on trying to address those challenges.
10th Street in Monroe, Councilmember Alex and I, or Councilmember Juan and I, share that intersection. Who is in charge of that project? Is it DOT, Beltline? Who's the boss on that project?
So, City of Atlanta first. We are responsible for the intersection. We've partnered with ABI to do the work, considering the connection and all the work they're doing. So I will take ownership for the intersection
Why did
as the boss.
Why did you kind of go 50% and then for, I don't know, a month, 2 months, it's a really painful intersection to go through? What was the disconnect there?
So once we opened it up, we found challenges around the type of material that we wanted to lay. And you know there's a grade change, and it's a extended intersection now. Making sure the utilities and that crossing for the Beltline was in order. We had to wait on that construction of the Beltline with the utilities, so there was a lull for the intersection portion. However, I'm going to wrap that up as soon as possible.
Okay.
Also, the asphalt paving they wanted, Dr. Bachman at Midtown High School asked that that be done during fall break this week.
Okay. Thank you for that additional context. I think it's working a little bit better now than it was a week ago, so progress, so thank you all for that. The Ike Smart City signs, I think they work well. I ran into some German tourists using it on Edgewood and Boulevard to find what the next MARTA bus was to get to Piedmont Park, and it worked. I walked up to help them, and it worked amazingly. So in that one instance, it was a success. I presume there are other success stories around the city. My question though is, does the city pay to install these, or does Ike pay to install them?
Ike Pace.
Okay. I asked because in an unrelated paper that's before us, there's a line item for someone other than Ike to pay to install new ones. And so I just want to get a sense of, to date, Ike has been paying to install them. There's a revenue sharing agreement based on ad revenue, et cetera. Okay, great. Thank you. And the last question I have is, there's citywide traffic signal upgrades listed for all the districts here as under construction. Have y'all had any conversations or done any work around signal prioritization for emergency vehicles, which I know requires certain technology at each intersection? We have it on North Avenue because it was a smart corridor. So when fire trucks come to a intersection, the lights will change in the direction they're going so they get through it quicker. Safer for everybody, both for cars at the intersection, people at the intersection. Is that part of this conversation? Have we had a broader city conversation on trying to adopt that technology at intersections so that EMS, fire, police potentially can get through intersections quickly and safely and minimize confusion?
Yeah. Short answer is yes. I come from the world of traffic engineering, technology. That signal preemption is actually located all over the city in coordination with Georgia Department of Transportation. Just so happens the leading company was acquired by a technology firm out of Canada, and we're looking to pilot how we can use those innovations to make intersections like mobile devices, where it communicates with us better and we can actually put in innovative safety improvements, considering we have the no right turn on red legislation scheduled for implementation 2025, so that technology can help us. But yes, we're working with Opticom, which is the company that does signal preemption, Georgia DOT, and this new technology company to see what innovations we can bring. And we can keep you in the loop and others in terms of the treatments and technology solutions.
That'd be great, but just so I understand, you said something at the start of that response. So some intersections or all intersections already have this technology in place, or?
Yes.
Okay. There's got to be some old intersections in the city that don't have it in place.
Oh, I didn't say all.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So many throughout the city have the technology, especially on the major arterials and collectors. So we have that map that we can share. Much of that is either connected to the Georgia DOT system through their SIGOPS program. But yes, it is, you'd be surprised.
Okay. I think we'd all love to see that map.
Yeah,
And then
ubiquitous it is in the city.
does it require, in order for it to work, does it require something to be installed on our emergency vehicles to communicate with the signal?
Yes and no. There are triggers on emergency vehicles that actually trigger, but there's a default that picks up the sirens and the signals for from the vehicles. So some of the newer technology doesn't require the communication from the vehicles, but yes and no answer.
All right. I'd love to talk further about this offline, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Next speaker, Councilmember Juan.
Thank you, Chair Amos, and thank you, Commissioner, and welcome to politics, where at any given time, some folks are happy and some folks aren't. I'm going to be on the side that I'm not really satisfied with your presentation today. Let's start with the SLAs. If I hear you correctly, what I'm hearing is that these numbers are bad, but because we're transitioning to a new CRM, we're working with ATL 311 to scrub, we also think the SLA deadlines should be revisited, so they may be wrong. Is that what I'm hearing?
So since I've been here in 2023, I have not been totally comfortable with some of our SLAs, given the maturity of our operations, and we've been working on that to try to, i.e. potholes.
Gotcha.
So we've made adjustments.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's a conversation to be had about moving the goalposts, but even so, I would say even those two factors, I wouldn't think would result in more than a 10 or 15% generously change in the numbers. And we are talking about numbers that are in the 20%, some as low as less than 7%. I mean, I think I suspect there is a more operational reason for these than measurement methodology. And so hopefully, as y'all work through that, I think an equal or not more amount of time needs to be spent on kind of the operational pieces of it, because I do think even with those adjustments, these numbers are going to be challenging. You know, these are not numbers we want to see, and I've said that Transportation Department is often the very first thing that the public sees and relates back to the city of Atlanta. Potholes, you're right, asphalt, I mean, all these things are ones that reflect on us. So I hope that, like I said, an equal amount of time will be focused on the operational factors that contribute to these numbers.
I appreciate those comments, because we've been working internally about our structure for operationalizing to improve how we respond.
Okay, sticking with the things that are in the presentation, because I want to get to some of the things that are not in the presentation. The capital projects, first question is, when you have the category capital projects, do you include Renew and Moving Atlanta Forward, or are these separate from those?
No, I'm sorry. Capital program does include our Renew and Moving Atlanta Forward, and also includes our General Capital Improvement Program, which
Okay,
we
so
called
the
out.
first one I want to lean into that's in here are the repaving projects. This is especially in light of the paper that it's held at full council, the new $120 million for repaving. As we are doing this, and this is also coming from Councilmember Hillis, I'm assuming that the prioritization is based on the PCI ratings that we've been talking about for some time, but yet it's kind of stale data. I think that has been something that he has mentioned several times. And I do think it's important that if those numbers that we're working off of are 6 years old, they are definitely stale. And where are we in terms of either refreshing that data, or what are we using in its stead that is more current, so that we can feel comfortable when we talk to our constituents that we're not just flying blind and picking streets without some sort of quantitative basis for it?
So we have data within our maintenance group to think about where we respond most.
Okay.
We use that data to evaluate the type of improvements and the type of corridors we need to focus on. We also have an asset inventory assessment that's ongoing currently. So that data will be updated very soon.
So at what point will we be able to have, again, for our edification as well as what we can communicate out to our constituents in terms of, well, this is how the city's doing it? Because I mean, I'm sure each one of us sitting up here has received an email or a call going, why are y'all repaving or working on this street when this one is, much worse? And so that would be helpful for us, because I just don't feel like we've been provided with the benefit of the information you just relayed to us.
Okay. So the question's when. We will get the data, we need to package that and then share it. So we're talking early 25. I'm nervous about which quarter to share, because we need to make sure we scrub that and we evaluate it. But as soon as we get that package, we'll publish it also, and we'll have a copy made available to council.
Okay, so what you just said gives me a little bit of uneasiness now with the $120 million that you're asking for, because if we're not going to get that until second quarter of 25, potentially, yet you're asking us now for $120 million, and that's no small chunk of change, to go resurface streets, there seems to be a little bit of a cart before the horse. Help me reconcile that.
So let's put this in context. We have World Cup 26. If we don't start working on getting that work done, we've been working on city improvements, and we also have our capital program. This is an update that's needed on a regular cycle, regardless of the events and what's happening. It just so happens that we were able to get this program moving, to get the data. But there's a conflation here that you're introducing.
Okay.
We know what we know now, and we need to address what we can now. We will have new data to update, but we can't wait, if you will.
Okay, so you're assuring me that what you know now has been applied to the proposed project list for the $120 million issue. And the World Cup acceleration notwithstanding, that there is a basis for that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I will accept that. I'll continue digesting that. All right, let's talk about Renew and moving Atlanta forward, because I'm a little disappointed that we got this from you at one of your last ones that listed all the projects and the status. And this is, we discussed at that point at a previous committee meeting that's how we're going to be able to track forward movement on those projects. So I'm is there a way we can get an update on this chart so that, again, as we're contemplating all this new money, the questions I'm getting are, well, what about the ones from 9 years ago? At least we would have something to be able to go, well, they are at least slowly creeping forward.
So, if I'm not mistaken, there is, per last council member, a request for the status of the program that you introduced that we're going to get to you. So that will be included, but we can give you the charts that we're
Yeah,
presenting.
that's going to be before FEC today, and there's a 45-day window for you to compile the information. I mean, I'm just talking about, like, this to me should be in the quarterly update
Oh.
from y'all
Okay.
anyway. I mean,
Okay.
because these are, we've done it before, it's not anything new. I think, but just, that's giving me a little bit of heartburn as well with the $120 million issue. Notwithstanding that, I mean, I was, as you were speaking, I was trying to go to the website to see if at least the information there was being maintained, because we've talked about that at a previous meeting as well. And I looked at, for example, the Monroe Safer Streets. And so the timeline on the 2 intersections there say that they were completed or should have been completed at the end of September. And yet I know that we're still in design phase on the project. So we got to do a better job of the money that we have in-house and what we're doing with it, where we're at, status, and how we're communicating to the public before we start asking for new money. And I guess I feel like I'm just ringing this bell in a echo chamber, but, you know, going back to my original comment, y'all are among the first frontline contacts that our public has with us. It's the conditions of the roads and the infrastructure they use to get to work, to school, to church, you know, every day. And we gotta figure out how we're gonna move this project, move this all along. The last thing I'll ask is, well, actually no, I'm just gonna end there. Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about the other piece, the reporting requirements for those 2 initiatives in FEC this afternoon. But yeah, I'm going to start leaning in because the Moving Atlanta Forward money, as I understand from the bondholders, was 5-year money. We're now in year 3, 2. Either way, I mean, we got 2 years on that one. The New Atlanta money was 2015, and we're now at 2024. You've got other capital project LMIG and the money that we've been contributing out of the annual budget every year. And those have to move as well, and you're asking for new money. We want to support you. These are important, but we just help us get to a level of confidence that we can do it and that we are doing it. So,
And I appreciate those comments, Councilmember, but, you know, let's not hide the fact we deal with thousands of requests that come in from constituents. We work with all of you to represent us with your constituents. We do signs, we do potholes, we do so much more than what's being presented here. So thank you for being advocates and being that conduit with the community, but I just don't want us to overlook all the day-to-day operations and all the hard work that our staff do to bring Atlanta and keep Atlanta.
absolutely, don't want to discount that. I'm just saying that you know, you've got some big asks in front of us, and we collectively, and we've got to honor those big asks as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lewis.
And I went to the DPW, your maps online. I went to Atlanta Department of Transportation online, ADOT, just to play with the interactive map and look at some of the projects that are going on. I know you have one of the best, a lot of engineers in your department, a lot of tech savvy people in your department. How can we get this map to show all of the projects going on in our district? Because even some of the stuff that you talked about today wouldn't be on this map, like Macon Drive, which is something I saw in here, is not in this map. I don't see it anywhere on this map. And I've been playing with it. I went on different pages. I went to Safe Streets. I went to Sidewalks. I went to the different links to try to catch stuff. So if possible, because we're directing people to this map, and it's beautiful, but I just think it's outdated. Yeah. Is there any kind of way we can, if you can update that? And lastly, open level, entry level positions, open entry level positions in your department. If there's any kind of way you can get us a list of the open entry level, not skill related positions, entry level, so a person can come off the street and we can hire and fill those positions. So if you can get me that list. every year, I think that the one question I ask each department during the budget cycle is if you have enough money in what you're presenting to in your request to us to get the job done. And so I think right now, 2 years in, I've asked that same question to you, and from what we're hearing, a lot of this stuff ain't. Just trying to make sure that we ask that question because we know at the end of the budget year we can go back and you said that you had enough money to do this stuff. And so I would love if you can increase your budget request next year, or if we ask that question, if you can tell us that you may need more, because I looked online at the Cleveland Avenue project and it said it won't be completed until 2028. And I mean, I think that we can, if we have enough money to get stuff done, can we hire new project managers to handle these projects, or what's the holdup there?
So we've bundled, Councilmember, I think sorry, Councilmember, I think what's missing there is that we've bundled part of Cleveland Avenue in with the MARTA work, and that to accelerate the work. So much of that work will be completed as part of our ongoing ART work with MARTA. Okay. So I'll get together with you and make sure that you're clear. Speaking to the website and the information, we're currently in the process with our new Chief Communications Officer updating the website. So we'll make sure that everyone has the information.
And one thing I would add to it, there's a function on there if you click the council member's name. Yeah. If you click my name, if there's a way you can put up every project in my district. And I think that, because I can tell that you have the capabilities to do it by what's on there, just put that on there. So that the entry-level positions and trying to see if you can hire more project managers. Because I know one of the things that the administration said was that they were going to have enough money to get projects done. And so we're now trying to get projects done. I think that we just won the we just won the Super Bowl, got all these things going on. I want my district to look, I know we sped up everything downtown Atlanta, but you have to go through District 12 to get to downtown Atlanta.
Absolutely.
And so if there's any kind of way we can do some projects in my area, let's beautify it right now while we still have good people living there who ain't gonna sell their houses. We ain't going nowhere. And so if there's any kind of way you can speed up and give us some stuff, we want the stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone last comments, questions? None. Commissioner and team, thank you. Revamped presentation, full of projects. It gives us at least a roadmap to start and to stand on, but more importantly, adds to accountability of knowing what you're working on, knowing the projects that we have that we're asking about, and also the public will be able to get this presentation and see what we're working on as well. I hear that we need to add a couple of more slides next time around, tying some money to some of the projects and seeing exactly where we are, to try to get all of us to happy. But I just want to say thank you. Welcome back, and let's move some projects.
Yes. Thank you all.
Right,
and
thank you.
Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I want to just bring attention to that. I see the pink washing, and as a member of a family who's been affected by this horrible disease, I just want to bring attention to the Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, that'll take us to public comment. Remind you we have 3 minutes. Also, I must ask that you keep all comments directly toward the committee. Be respectable of everyone in the room. And I will be looking at legal. If we get too deep into personnel and or investigations, give me the nod. I have no problem in cutting off a mic. So with that being said, first person we have up is Mr. Michael Jones, and I see you have been yielded time by 2 people, so that's 9 minutes. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, council members. I come down here today with the Mayor's Apprenticeship Program from the airport. These hardworking men and women started around 2023. It was a great idea. It was a good job by the mayor to start. However, since then, it has been taken over by Jan Lennon, our interim general manager, April Broaders, and Christopher Jackman, who have, for lack of a better term, run it into the ground. These men and women, prior to June 26th, the meeting we were at, that we okayed, you guys okayed the $4.50 an hour that we got, right? These men and women's job titles ensured that they were going to get paid. They were under grade 18, they were grade 14s. They were airport facilities maintenance ground mechanics. They were that on June 26th. They had been that for a complete year. They were that on July 4th when the pay started. They were still this on July 12th when their pay come out. Now, on July 16th, Jan Lennon, April Broaders, and Christopher Jackman had a meeting with these men and women. After they had been telling them, everybody's getting this $4.50, everybody's going to get it. Turn around and told these folks, you're not going to get it now. Too bad, so sad, you're in the apprentice program, but we'll give you $2.25, maybe, if you meet the criteria over a 3-year period. Now, wait a minute. I'm no mathematician, but my $4.50 now means a whole lot more than $2.25, maybe, over a 3-year period. Some of these men and women hadn't had an instructor in 6 months. Their 3 years just grew to 3.5 years. They're making $17 to $20 an hour. That's it. They want the $4.50 that they were promised, they were given, they earned through this committee. After this July 16th meeting, their next paycheck came out on July 27th. Every one of them's pay scale had changed to a grade 12. They went down in pay. They became airport apprentices. Now, why would they do that? Well, that ensured they couldn't get the $4.50. There's no room now to give you the $4.50. You just stuck at $20 an hour. And you're stuck for 3, maybe 3.5, maybe 4 years. We don't know how long we'll keep these instructors there, if we can keep getting them there. You have to ask Mr. Jackman or Miss April Broaders or Jan Lennon. They can't seem to pull this off. They told these men and women in the beginning, if you want out of this, all you got to do is fill out a piece of paper, and then we'll put you back on your respective crews. No problem. Some of them left. These strong-willed men and women wanted to ride it out. Okay? Now they're told, if you want to leave this program so they can save face with the mayor, Mayor Andre Dickens, who did a great job in starting this, but if you want out, you have to go back through the hiring process. You're terminated. And you may not end up at the Department of Aviation either. You may end up somewhere else. Pick a department in the city. That will ensure you don't get that $4.50. Now, they changed their job titles overnight without so much as their permission, a TAD form, not one signature from any of these men and women. Nothing. Now, we have a meeting, and we're sitting there, and these men and women are voicing their concerns to Miss Jan Lennon, Miss April Broaders, Mr. Christopher Jackman. Some of them got children. Some of them take care of their elderly parents. Some of them take care of their special needs brothers and sisters. $20 an hour is what they're making. They no longer want to be in this program. They want the $4.50, like you guys said okayed, and they were eligible for up until July 27th. Now, that's way after the time frame, right? Why not get you, if you can change their job titles overnight to something they didn't want, so what happens when they complete the program? What you gonna change the job title to then? You made all these promises, but you didn't put nothing in writing. What you did is you said, since March 2023, you said, oh, we're gonna take care of you. Just trust us. We want paperwork. We want paperwork. They've been asking for paperwork to see if they could get anything since March 2023. September 9th, 2024 is when they got their paperwork. Over a year later, and after they had changed their job titles to ensure they could not keep the $4.50, couldn't even get it. $20 an hour, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to make ends meet on $20 an hour. Now, to add insult to injury, we're not going to give you an overtime. Can't have it. Don't even ask for it. Second job, as long as you're not doing it at the airport, ask permission. We'll see what we can do about that. We don't want you working over a certain amount of time. So basically, you got these men and women trapped. If you want out, you're terminated. You got to go get a different job. Got to go somewhere else. Got to go back through the hiring process. Again, they ain't had an instructor, some of them, in 6 months. What's the problem? So we had this meeting with Jan on July 16th, and she wants to tell these women about financial literacy. Let me tell you how, if I give you $1 million, each and every one of you, how you'd still go broke. Don't believe me? Let's play the tape. Play the audio. Let's see how she bullies these young men and women. How April Broaders and Christopher Jackman bully these young men and women out there at the world's busiest airport. Now, do you understand that J.D. Powers came up with that survey and said, the world's busiest airport, customer service is in the tank under Jan Lennon, April Broaders, and Christopher Jackman. In the tank. Why? Because they treat employees so bad. We have to keep coming down here. They treat us so bad that it spilled over into our attitudes. And our attitudes have been pushed out to the general public. Got the Super Bowl coming, got the World Cup coming, got a whole bunch of stuff coming. And you can't even take care of the people that do your work, that are out there as a reflection upon you. Are you kidding me? And we keep coming down here saying the same names. Mr. Byron Amos said, and I quote, y'all stop this before it gets down here. We tried. We don't want to come down here. I don't want to waste my time coming down here. But I'm not going to let my coworkers, my brothers and sisters I work with every day that have my back, I'm not going to allow them to be mistreated. I'm not going to allow them to be bullied. Now, if they don't have a voice, I'll speak for them. Got all the paperwork here to see where they have been, their job title changed and when they changed it, to keep them from having that money. Now, if they can change it that easy, council members, Councilman Lewis, Faroki, Ms. Overstreet, Councilwoman Overstreet, Councilman Juan, if they can change it that quickly, well, they can change it back. Change it back today and give them the money retro back to July 4th. When you okayed that money. They met the criteria then, they meet the criteria now. Change their job title back. If they can do it to them, they can do it to me, they can do it to other 20-year veterans. And why would you do that? This is the mayor's program. What a wonderful program it started out to be. Holy cow. This is only half of them. The rest of them couldn't get here. Give them their money. Change their job title back. Do right by these young men and women. $20 an hour, they're trying to survive with families. Mothers, fathers are trying to take care of. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Take care.
Audience, you're going to have to meet me halfway. I give you your right to speak, but the celebration, the clapping, the snapping, I'm going to have to ask that you stop. Please. That is just not something we do. I give you a lot of leeway in speaking, but meet me halfway here, please. So, moving forward, Brother Muhammad, and I see you have 2 people that have yield time to you, so 9 minutes, sir.
Ma'at Matrat Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Ashe. Brother Anthony Muhammad, I'm not a believer no more in religion, just patriarchal society that don't speak up for the women, don't speak up for the least of those. I'm not with that anymore. I'm with the energy that we are, 99.9% energy. We all are connected to nature. There are laws in nature. We have to be of integrity. We have to be transparent. And we must have Mr. Amos the Real to want to represent the good that you was born with, not indoctrinated with. I come down here to talk about Mr. Solomon, as I met him outside, and gave him condolences for his father. But Mr. Solomon knew when he came along, the mayor appointed him, I think one of his colleagues or one of his brothers that he know in the community. He came out of the community. That's a wonderful thing over in Benny Hill where I live at, Miss Overstreet, your district. Now, why do I talk about this, Mr. Solomon? Now, he had been here from the time he first was given the confirmation by you all in the meeting of the full council. I told him about my area that we were having problem with. I told him about Tail Road. You all have a copy, 1994, the last time it resurfaced. But Tail Road, where I live at, Cross Button Road, it was resurfaced in 2010 with sidewalks, curves, and striping down the side, Mr. Amos. I've been telling you about Niska Lake, and I've been telling you about County Line Road, Miss Overstreet. We had Miss Keisha Lance Bottom, the mayor. She had got it paid before she left, but they did not do the striping. And when this young man came on, Brother Muhammad stood up and said, we need to get the striping out there. Now, you go back and look, Mr. Amos, since you've been the transportation chairman, and Mr. Faroka been the transportation chairman. I think he was there 2 years, Mr. Faroka, and now you on. And it still ain't got did correctly. Now, you're going to tell me, Brother Antonio, Mr. Warren had said, you got projects, it's things that been going on, and some of them haven't been done in some of their areas, some of them haven't been done well yet. But Brother Anthony Muhammad is an advocate for truth, justice, and equality. I speak up for the least of those. Let's don't get it twisted. I love my dog, anti-matter people. Not like Kamala Harris, who from India tell you, I'm not going to do anything for some black people. Reparation. And Kamala Harris said what? By her own people in India, the majority of people in India is darker than I. And they do what? Have been treated as the untouchables, Miss Overstreet. And why I bring that up? Because it appears to me in Atlanta, we want to do like 1816, the Gullah War, the Democratic Party. You had Andrew Jackson, who was the first person to become the president, and he was a general that called the Trail of Tears. He killed people look like them dog people I'm talking about. Moved them out of their land here in Georgia, Alabama, all these 13 colonies they call it. And right today in the 21st century, I still see that going on because we got Willie Lynch. For y'all don't know it, look up Willie Lynch. Called Mr. Michael. I'm very pleased to know my brother, Michael John. Mr. Antonio, when we were talking about the Department of Watershed, Brother Devon Robinson, why they ain't got their money. You had an opportunity to speak out first, came over there on Mayweather Street at the old newspaper company, the Atlanta paper. Now, what did we get done? You had that woman then, the Department of Watershed, to come up with the money to pay them people. Now, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. This brother Antonio Lewis, Mr. Michael, he made them realize it was unfair. And let's pay them folks their money. So now you got the rest of these people on this board, Mr. Faroka, Amos, Ms. Overstreet, Mr. Warren. We was talking about this sometime in the early part of the year. And now I hear you got them same Negroes out there. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said a Negro is somebody that don't know the knowledge of themselves. Let's keep this real. I used to be a member of the Nation of Islam. But I don't like to have people that want to mistreat us in the 21st century as Ms. Kamala Harris. We should not have to come through that. You get this brother, I'm going to call him, Michael John, to come and tell you what he feels is wrong out there under the management. You had Devon Robinson running for city council today because he's tired of having people in these departments not standing up for the interests of their workers. You got these young people of the apprentice program. I remember when the mayor talked about his work that he wanted to always lift up the young people. He had a program before he come to Atlanta helping the young people. And then he come up with this apprentice program, and then he give it to a bunch of persons out there look like us, but gonna treat them like Willie Lynch. Now, what is Willie Lynch? Willie Lynch said in 1712, I got a plan of how to divide people for the next 312 years. Now, there was 1712, count the years. This is 2024. We 12 years still letting some people look at the darker ones and treat them like they're nobody. But if you're brown, you can stick around. But if you're yellow, you can get up to the front. But we're supposed to be one people. I told you, I'm not with religion. You got to believe in something other than yourself. You all of a spark of the, what you call it, God. We all are energy, 99.9% energy, like electricity. If you come at electricity wrong, Mr. Farouk, with something that you can't have access to and put it in that alley, it'll kill you. Now, if you got some people out there that airport continue to want to suppress the opportunity, suppress the will for them people to get that money, you need to give them a separation paper. Give them an opportunity to leave and still get their pension if they've been there. I'm not wanting to take all from them, but I want to take their position. Because we shouldn't have to come down and beg. Mr. Jones gave you good representation of what's going on. Even the mayor program. I come down and beg y'all to make these people that's over the department do right in my community. Because Brother Anthony Muhammad is like electricity. I'm not going to be cut off. I'm going to always be able to plug in and bring it out in accordance to the way it was created to be. That's the way you were produced from your mother's womb until you got indoctrinated and then became what? Part of the patriotic society, go along and get along. This is Atlanta. We still are the majority citizen in the city, but the majority citizen in the city don't have access to opportunities and have the wealth that some of our own people, the top 10% brothers and sisters, the sororities, the fraternities, the boule, they ought to be out here. I see you got Miss Shirley Franklin there. Give a recognition to her. But do you remember when she was the mayor? December the 24th, the night before Christmas, she fired 400 public workers. Now look, we can't continue to do that. We had the housing authority, even with Andy Young. I have a problem with these people. They could come and talk about how much would they be worthy, but they're not representing energy exactly in accordance to the way you were created. You can't be without no integrity. You got Fannie Willis, don't lie about she didn't have a relationship. But now she wants you to vote for me. We're still gonna have it real. You got 16 people in the jailhouse dead from last year not being in Fulton County, not being able to be served. So I'm saying it's time out. You got all these problems with people that are supposed to be representing the interests of the whole. So let's come up with a way, Mr. Amos. You're so easy to tell what you want. You're so easy to tell that you got to have some kind of peace in here. And my heart is with them people at the airport. Come up with a way to make sure they get their $4.50. Because time out, Miss Overstreet. You've been speaking up quite well in the last years. We've been coming together with some issues. And I will give you my vote. I vote only for somebody that's worthy of my respect. I don't do that, Mr. Amos, because you came here with 500 people. You understand that? Out of your district, 25,000 people, and you come in here with 500 that voted. People don't want to vote no more because they don't see the value. But today, you got a way to amend that. Support these workers at the airport. Y'all done went through this before. And I want you to know, I agree to you when I come in the way I should have, but I'm going to say it the way my ancestors said. Shalai la ilallah, Muhammadu Rasulullah. Ashe, Muhammad, do Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Next speaker will be Mr. Morris.
Good morning, committee chairman and members of the committee. I'm Maurice Morris, CFO, and this is Demetrius Brundage, President of Driver Relations of RR Winds LLC. And we're here to request a policy change that allow rideshare rates, a high-end rideshare app, to have exclusive pickup and drop-off access at the forthcoming west gates of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Recent changes in Georgia's laws through the MCCD department now allow transitional rideshare, enabling commercial vehicles to operate on platforms like Rideshare Rates and Uber. Our service specializes in luxury vehicles with MSRP values of $50,000 to $1 million, such as Rolls-Royce and high-end electric vehicles, providing the first-class transportation experience. There is a substantial demand for luxury travel. The global luxury travel market is projected to grow at least 6.4% annually, and affluent travelers are prioritizing premium ground transportations. Airports like Dubai have capitalized this by showcasing high-end services, and Atlanta, being home to the busiest airport in the world, is primed to follow this model. Hartsfield-Jackson already serves over 107 million passengers annually, many of whom are business class and high net worth travelers. These individuals demand exclusive, high quality transportation services. Uber Black A similar premium tier has seen tremendous growth at major airports, demonstrating the need for dedicated high-end rideshare options. However, our platform provides a superior level of service, exceeding Uber Black by offering vehicles priced to up to $1 million. Moreover, with major global events like the 2026 FIFA World Cup and recently awarded 2028 Super Bowl, the influx of VIP visitors will increase dramatically. These events typically draw tens of thousands of affluent individuals who expect luxury services. By positioning rideshare rates at the West Gates at Hartsfield-Jackson will showcase itself as the world-class airport, catering to the needs as a high-end profile passengers' needs. Allowing rideshare rates this exclusivity ensures that these luxury travelers aren't relegated to standard rideshare lots, but instead are met with the prestigious service they expect, further solidifying Atlanta's global images. Thank you for your time, and if anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer. We are the world's only high-end rideshare mobile app. We've been open for 7 months here. We're open in Michigan as well as Illinois. It's for bosses, driven by bosses. That's our tagline. And it's the world's only artificial intelligence rideshare app. It actually speaks to you as well.
Thank you, and I did get your email, so we'll be in contact. Mr. Brandeis, you did sign up. Did you want your 3 minutes, or are you covered? You covered, okay, thank you. Next, we will have Ms. Emily Padilla.
Good morning. My name is Emily Padilla. I'm a customer service lead for wheelchair agents at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. My job is really important. It's essential to ensuring that Delta passengers who need wheelchair assistance, like the elderly and those with disabilities, are taken care of while traveling through the airport. As a lead, I set up and prep the wheelchairs for the wheelchair agents. I also help and assist immobile passengers who need special care to get on and off the plane safely. And there are times when I jump in as a wheelchair agent for my agents to assist passengers around the airport. I really like my job. I love meeting new people and talking to passengers all over the world and hearing about their travels. Despite my importance to the function of the airport and Delta operations, we are paid priority wages, and we are also cheated out of money. We rightfully earn with rampant and pervasive wage theft. I already have to work 50 to 60 hours a week to make ends meet and support my family. I live with my parents who have serious health issues, and I help support them the best I can. I rarely get a day off because money is tight, and I'd rather pick up another shift. I have dreams of going back to school to study photography and one day starting my own business. And right now, I can't even afford a computer or a car to be able to pursue that dream. How come Delta can entrust us to take care of their passengers, but allow us to work for an employer who pays us priority wages and steals our hard-earned money from us? We fed up and fired up, and we won't let this continue. Dr. King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Delta and Unify can do better. We won't stay silent. We will keep fighting and asking the mayor and this community to help us any way possible. How do we get from essential to feeling disposable? Atlanta deserves better. The workers deserve better so we can service people going through our beautiful airport, giving the best service with a smile. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Cedric Sims.
Good morning. I'm speaking on behalf of all these workers, wheelchair and cleaners. These workers at the airport, they're barely getting enough to make ends meet when they're given sweat and time. And actually, they even having money taken from them, which is why Unify have a lawsuit going on against, the workers have a lawsuit going on against Unify. Workers love Atlanta. They love their job. Some of them have previous jobs. Once they get here, they listen to people saying, this is the busiest airport in the world. They're proud of that. And we're proud of the way the airport is going in terms of infrastructure. It's beautiful. But what's missing is the treatment for these workers to provide the service with a smile on their face. Because you can have all the gadgets, all the bells and whistles, but if the person wanting it is not happy, I'm sure the people going to the airport won't have the experience they wanted to. Some of them have been working at this airport for a long time. They know about business. Some of them have their own business. They know how it goes. And they know this is not the right way to go by it. And Delta own part of Unify. And they're not happy about it that Delta, as big as it is in Atlanta, the beautiful Atlanta, is letting this happen. It is very unethical. They work extremely hard to do their job, not to get paid the right amount of money when they get their check. Atlanta is often called the cradle of the modern civil rights movement. We're calling on the mayor, the city council, to stop the union busting and respect largely the black workforce and their work rights, like it has happened for the past 30 years. Atlanta is the seat of the civil rights movement. And we're not going to stay silent. We're not going back to the way it was before. When workers couldn't speak, you couldn't ask for what you deserve. I mean, we will go way past slavery now. It's 2024. We remove the chain, the charcoal from our ankle. Nobody's going to put it in our head or in our heart. It is an insult to all of the progress we have made as a country when companies like Unify exploit the largely black and immigrant power workforce by stealing from them and paying poverty level wage.
Sir, you're over your time. Wrap up your thought, please.
In addition, in knowing what it takes to run a business, one of our workers, father, worked for Delta for a long time, and it's not a matter of Delta or who's writing the check. It's a matter of how they're being treated.
Okay, I'm out to stop you there. You're over your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Charlotte Bryant. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Good afternoon or good morning to everyone. I am Charlotte Bryant, and I am an ABM employee. I've been with ABM for 4 years at the airport. And I have taken pride in my work that I do there at the world's busiest airport. Working for ABM has allowed me to provide for myself and help me to provide and care for my extended family as well. This includes my 2 nieces having everything they need and the opportunity to participate in extra activities. It also includes my brother, who faces both medical and physical challenges that require more than he can bear alone. To be faced with employment and economic insecurities just weeks before the holidays and after years of being told that we are an essential employees, only to feel more like disposable employees. My job is slated to end on November the 1st of 2024. I only wish all my coworkers could be here with me today. For example, Ms. Cynthia Hartsfield. She has been a loyal and dedicated employee for 37 years, making sure passengers arriving and departing from our great city have a safe and sanitary experience. We all have earned and deserve better. Our hard fought for benefits such as wages increased vacation time, and holiday pay through union membership. This can and will disappear and makes ABM employees feel targeted by the termination of our contract at the airport. Our desire to remain employed at this airport and continue union membership was met with defeat as another union company, which is called Flagship. They will also be terminated November the 15th, 2024, just 2 weeks later. This implies to us that we as union members are being targeted, and we ask why? Why now? We are here today asking for your help. We don't believe this is happening by accident or chance. Please help us stop the union busting that is happening around us. And I have a statement from one of my fellow coworkers who couldn't be here today. This is what she wrote. Hello, my name is Adrian Reed. I started working for ABM in June of this year. While at orientation, the union came in to introduce itself. They spoke to my group of potential hires and told us of all the exciting benefits the union had to offer. As they spoke of improvements and increases, I looked forward to joining so that I too could be a part of an amazing group that reaped these benefits. When hired, I was told that I was an essential employee. I now feel like a disposable employee as ABM workers feel.
Excuse me, Ms. Bryant, you're over your time, please.
Okay, thank you.
If you want us to make a copy of that so the committee members can do it, if you give it to Mr. Overton, we will do that so we can see the statement.
Okay.
Okay. And actually, next signed up is Miss Adrian Reed. She here? She had to leave. Okay. So that takes us to, is this Stephen Ismo? Did I pronounce that right? Yes.
Hi, my name is Stephen Eimel. I'm speaking to you today to ask that you guys ban driverless taxis and robo-taxis from the Atlanta streets. Whatever kind of fix you think the robo-taxis are going to be for Atlanta, I can assure you that they're going to miss the mark. While rideshare is not necessarily a net good for this city, at the very least, most, I'll say some, probably not most, some of the income and money spent on that is actually invested back into the city, via the people who are driving those cars. At the moment, there's no plan, as far as I understand, that the city has that will invest any amount of money back into the city from expenses made on those cars. I ask, how can we expect Atlanta to hold $1 billion company accountable when we can, when we bend over backwards to accommodate them in this city? What are we going to do when they fail to follow the rules of the road? What are we going to do when they pull away after being pulled over by an officer because there's no one in the car and no one to stop and understand how they're supposed to deal with that? And what are they going to do? What are we going to do when they kill one of our neighbors? Our streets belong to the people that call Atlanta home, not the corporations that seek to profit from them. So I also want to speak to Antonio Lewis's legislation that will extend the time period that will allow people to use micromobility, rentable micromobility from 12 to 2 a.m. And speak in favor of that. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And that actually brings us to the end of our public comment, which takes us to the beginning of our consent agenda. But before I do that, there are a special group of people joining us today. We actually have students from the Lovett School that is here. I think they're in the audience, was in the audience. Okay. But definitely just wanted to recognize those students. They're here to see the sausage being made legislative process. Hopefully we can encourage them to take over one day. With that being said, we are actually short of a quorum, so we can't move forward. So where's Antonio? We just made a call to see if we can get our quorum back. So do we just pause at this point? Okay.
Yep.
And hopefully we can get one within the next 10 minutes. Yeah, meanwhile, is there a rep for MARTA that is here? No one for MARTA? Okay, well.
I'm hoping that MARTA representative is probably out in the atrium, and they hear that we're asking, and they'll be in the next 30 seconds. Okay, seeing no representative, I've stated for years now that MARTA should be at every single transportation committee. We should have a representative from MARTA at every single transportation committee. We have taxpayer money funding that goes directly to MARTA because they're an authority that works for our Atlanta residents. They should be at every single transportation committee. We need a MARTA representative at every single transportation committee. It's extremely important. So for today, I actually brought a couple handouts for MARTA because I want to talk about Trails ATL quickly and the Campbellton BRT. Our quorum will be back, and I will be quiet as soon as. But this is the time during design of Campbellton where the residents are weighing in, and they're very concerned about the fact that only bike lanes right now are being incorporated in the Campbellton BRT. And we would like it to be a protected multimodal path instead of bike lanes that are not protected. And since we have a quorum, I will yield there, and especially since we still don't have a MARTA representative here. Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Natalie Knight, represent MARTA with Impact Public Affairs.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
because-
stepped out to take a call. My apologies.
Thank you, because I'm sure MARTA understands the importance of having a representative at every single transportation committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So I will be emailing you this. We had our third round of engagement with Trails ATL last night.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is just one slide, and it's really not specific for MARTA, but I am getting a lot of conversation from residents about the fact that there's no protection for the multimodal, or what MARTA is calling a bike lane for the Campbellton BRT.
Yes, ma'am.
And this study shows that the City of Atlanta residents, they're very uncomfortable with unprotected bike lanes, especially on a corridor like Campbellton for BRT. And the preference is 100%. And this shows the detail. I'm going to share this with you, and I'll definitely copy you on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
email. But I do have a copy for you today that you can take with you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'll certainly grab that from you, and I'll look out for the
It
email and
needs to
share
be protected, and I prefer not to call it just a bike lane because everyone doesn't bike, but they don't want to be in a car either. So it needs to be a multimodal path, a protected multimodal path.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
With the Campbellton BRT.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I'll
And-
take this now, and I'll also discuss with the MARTA team and get back with you.
So I'd like to meet about it. I'm going to email you. Thank you very much,
Of
Ms.
course.
Natalie Knight.
Sorry, I
for
stepped
being
out.
here.
No, absolutely.
MARTA.
Sorry, I stepped out for a hot
Because
second,
I
so
was
thank you.
feeling some type of way.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And I just, because it's so important, like, it's just important that MARTA is always at the table when we're talking about transportation. We're depending on them.
Yes, ma'am, and
Okay.
we're happy to be here, and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
If anyone has eyes on any person that is a member of the Transportation Committee, please send them back into the room. Transportation. Well, while we wait, I do want to echo what my colleague said to Atlanta Department of Transportation, and I said it to Public Works Watershed Management and Public Works on yesterday. Thank you. During the last storm, of course, my Proctor Creek Basin people had their fingers crossed and eyes closed, and I did not get one phone call about any water in any one basement or any parking lot becoming a swimming pool. So whatever pre-work you was able to do is cleaning our streets and our catch basins and things of that nature. Thank you very much. I hope the citizens are doing their job and not putting the stuff in the street in the first place, but that's an ongoing conversation. But just want to echo them and say thank you for that as well. Well, actually, can you go ahead and read the first reading? Because we can't take action, but can you read?
Unfortunately, according to Robert's rules, we have to wait until there's a quorum to even do that.
Okay, I tried, y'all.
Oh, excuse me, the code, not Robert's rules.
So that takes us to our consent agenda. Mr. Overton, proceed.
These are ordinances for first reading. Item number 1, 24-01563, an ordinance by Transportation Committee waiving Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 7, Section 2-1292, subsection E of the Atlanta City Code, authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to execute the Third Amendment to the agreement number listed herein for the DeKalb Avenue safety improvements with Matthews Kelly joint venture, to add funding in an amount not to exceed $128,584.28, and to ratify payment for work performed to complete the emergency repairs on Cheshire Bridge Road. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein, and for other purposes. Item number 2, 24-01564, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee waiving Section 2-1187 of the City Code of Ordinances to authorize the mayor or his designee to enter into Amendment Number 2 to extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis for a period of up to 6 months, effective February 28, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $10,250,000.00, and to recognize a change of control in name of the vendor VGS2 MATL joint venture under FC 10278, fuel storage facility and fueling facility operation at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 3, 24-01565, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to provide an alternative funding for certain contracts supporting Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport by replacing interim funding sources with permanent funding from Airport General Revenue Bond Series listed herein in an amount not to exceed $19,812,303.97 and for other purposes. Item number 4, 24-01566, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the City of Atlanta to waive the procurement code selection provisions of Edition 4 of Chapter 2, Article 10 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, as well as any other conflicting code provisions, to revive and authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the first renewal option for the contract agreement RFP-S-1210-120 ATL Customer Experience Program with ABM All-in-One Security Services Incorporated on behalf of the Department of Aviation at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 2 years, retroactively effective to the effective date of June 29, 2024 through June 28, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $25,000,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you. That takes us to our regular agenda. Ms. Overton, proceed.
These are ordinances for second reading. If there are no objections, can we take items number 5 through 11 as a block?
See none. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Item number 5, 24-01533, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by transferring to and from appropriations a total amount of $41,935,790.00 for reimbursement of the Aviation Encumbrance Program and for other purposes. Item number 6, 24-01534, an ordinance by the Transportation Committee amending fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $3,183,260.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FA Grant Agreement 3-13008-136-2024 for the purpose of rehabilitating runway 8L-26R shoulders, runway 8R-26L shoulders, runway 9L-27R shoulders, and runway 9R-27L shoulders, and for other purposes. Item number 7, 24-01535, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $4,000,000.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FA Grant Agreement 3-13-008-137-2024 for the purpose of domestic terminal restroom rehabilitation and for other purposes. Item number 8, 24-01536, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $9,637,043.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FA Grant Agreement 3-13-0008 2024 for the purpose of reconstructing concourses C, F, and T restrooms, and for other purposes. Item number 9, 24-01537, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $410,622.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FAA Grant Agreement 3-13-0008-139-2024 for the purpose of replacing lights with LED at Fire Station number 24 and number 23, and replacing HVAC units at Fire Station number 24, and for other purposes. Item number 10, 24-01538, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $20,123,076.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FAA Grant Agreement 3-13-0008-140-2024 for the purpose of rehabilitating Taxiway D, Taxiway B, Taxi Line D, Taxiway T, Taxiway M, Apron 5N, and for other purposes. And item number 11, 24-01539, an ordinance by Transportation Committee amending the fiscal year 2025 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations grant funds in the amount of $9,731,205.00 from the Federal Aviation Administration for FAA Grant Agreement 3-13-0008-141-2024 for the purpose of improvement to terminal building by replacing landslide power distribution system, and for other purposes.
Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Items are favorable. Next item.
Next item is item number 12, 24-01546. An ordinance by an ordinance by Councilmember Dustin Hillis authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city to execute all documents necessary for the additional acquisition of certain property interests necessary for the Howell Mill Road Complete Streets project, authorizing negotiations with property owners for the acquisition of such property interest, authorizing title searches, appraisals, surveys, and any other items necessary for the acquisition of such property interest, authorizing the mayor and the city attorney, in the event negotiations are unsuccessful, to institute condemnation proceedings pursuant to the declaration of the taking method in OCGA Section 32-3-1 et sequitur, waiving certain provisions of Article 10 of the Real Estate and Procurement Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances. All contracted work and payments for the property interest to be paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable, 3 yeas, 1 abstention. That takes us to our resolutions.
Item number 13, 24R4198, a resolution by council members Michael Julian Bond and Byron Amos modifying the Atlanta Atrium Policy Task Force, to establish the task force as a permanent entity, to rename the task force to the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport Vendors Policy Task Force, and to require once-a-month meetings in order to review all procedures, policies, and laws pertaining to the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport's atrium and adjacent terminals to improve operations and enhance safety, and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, there is a request to hold this item on behalf of the department. Yeah.
So I am getting, as my colleague, Councilmember Warren said, a little heartburn, being asked to hold. So is there, I know there's a motion to substitute to add a colleague name. So motion to substitute.
To add my name to this.
Okay.
To
Motion to amend, I'm sorry, yes, motion to amend. So I guess hoping that vote has been made and
Yeah, I'd like to add my name to it also. And it's a task force. And this task force actually will highlight some of the things that we've been working on at the airport. And it's about the experience from the moment that you're entering the grounds of the airport to the those waiting for you while you get off of your airplane, any portion of the experience at the airport should be applauded and worked on. And I don't see a negative about a task force for the experience of our city's gym. So I move approval. Okay. I vote yes to amend.
The vote for the motion to amend is open.
I'm
Vote is
actually
closed.
kind of curious too. Well,
Well, the motion, the amended item is before us now.
I'm actually kind of curious. I didn't receive any phone calls about the need to hold. So if someone wants to speak on it, but I don't understand.
I got some questions.
So someone, actually, it's council member, mine and Michael Bond's paper, but someone from the department that want to speak to this?
Good afternoon, Michael Smith, Deputy General Manager, Department of Aviation. We have worked with the law department and they prepared a substitute. Not that we objected, of course, to necessarily to the task force, but to some of the language in it. And so it was my understanding that that substitute had been given to the, at least Councilman Bond, and that he was agreeable to holding it for this meeting.
Got it. Glad I asked. So we're happy to substitute during full council. We'll just pass it under condition that we substitute. We could do that. What do you think?
That sound like a motion that I second.
We'll look at that substitute.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So motion has been made and second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The item is favorable on condition. Councilmember Lewis.
This is a beautiful this is beautiful legislation from Councilmember Bond and Councilmember Amos. I truly appreciate you for this. When you think about a resolution and a task force that's already been going, I don't see how this could do anything but improve the services there, and also puts everyone on an even footing. When you hear some of the folks who came in to public comment today, some of our airport workers who work for vendors, now we all get them all at the same table. So thank you for putting this legislation forward, Councilmember.
And in all honesty, it's a continuation of a task force that has already been working. You may remember the work we done around the atrium, in which really everybody was at the table, including the airport, legal, APD, MARTA. Everybody really came together, and in light of what have happened on the international side, we just thought we'd continue it. So it has been great work performed. So and everybody is in full support. So with that being said, next item 14.
Item number 14, Mr. Chair, there is a request to amend this item.
Motion to amend. Motion has been made and second.
Vote is open. Vote is closed. And for the record, the amendment just makes minor language edits throughout the legislation.
So the amended item is before us. Please.
Well, item number 24, item number 14, 24R4201, a resolution by council members Andrea L. Boone, Dustin Hillis, and Marcy Colley Overstreet as amended by the Transportation Committee, requesting the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with Georgia Power Company on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation for the installation of 3 street lights on Treadwell Circle Southwest and for other purposes.
Motion to approve. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The amended item is favorable. Item number 15, I make a motion to amend. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed. And
The
for-
amended item is before us. Please read the caption and tell us the changes.
The amendment makes some minor language edits to the second and the fifth whereas clauses, but this is item number 1524R4205, a resolution by Councilmember Amir Faroqi as amended by Transportation Committee, requesting the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Angier Avenue Northeast between Boulevard Northeast and Central Park Place Northeast in order to reduce speeding and for other purposes.
Motion to approve. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Amended item is favorable. Item number 16, make a motion to amend. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Amended item is before us. Please read the caption.
Item number 1624R4206, a resolution by Councilmember Amir Faroqi as amended by Transportation Committee requesting the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Pine Street Northeast between Angier Avenue Northeast and Felton Drive Northeast in order to reduce speeding and for other purposes. The amendment just makes minor language edits to the second and the fifth whereas clauses.
Motion has been made. I second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Item number 17, make a motion to substitute. Motion has been made in a second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Substitute item is before us. Please read the caption.
This is item number 1724R4211, a resolution by Councilmember Jason H. Winston as substituted by Transportation Committee to designate Brown Avenue Southeast as Honorary Reverend Dr. Robert Rice Jr. Way, to authorize the City of Atlanta Department of Transportation to install honorary street names where Brown Avenue Southeast street signage is installed and for other purposes. The substitute amends the caption and makes minor edits throughout the body of the legislation.
So by changing them to honorary street names, does that bypass the public hearing requirement?
Yes. John Gall with the Law Department. Yes, the Law Department has reviewed it. If you may recall, Councilmember Wan, this was originally introduced as an ordinance and filed and submitted as a resolution. We're not changing the name of the streets, and so a public hearing wasn't necessary.
Move approval on substitute.
Second. Motion has been made in second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Takes us to item number 18. As he reads the caption, there will be a question, so someone from ADOT, if you could step up to the podium, please. Go ahead, sir.
Item number 18, 24R4212, a resolution by Councilmember Antonio Lewis requesting that the Commissioner of the Atlanta Department of Transportation amend the administrative regulations for shareable dockless mobility device operators to allow device operation between midnight and 2 a.m. and for other purposes.
I see my colleague is multitasking, so I think the question, you up? Okay.
The question would be to ATO DOT, what would be the purpose of requesting to hold this paper, since I know that a lot of folks are in favor of this paper, even on your side?
Aye. Yes. Good afternoon, Council. Betty Smoot-Madison, Deputy Commissioner for Strategy and Planning with ATL DOT. Yes, the department is supportive of extending the curfew. As you guys know, we've had a very successful program and have seen nothing but growth in our ridership numbers over the years. And as you know, prior to 2019, we did have a 24/7 operations of these devices. And just due to a few crashes that were scooter involved, there was action to implement this curfew in 2019. But due to the growth and improvements in the program, we did extend the curfew again in 2022 from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. And we have seen nothing, again, but continuous growth. We actually see in our data that there's about 13% of trips that are being made between that 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. hour. We also are seeing in our data that there are open apps, so people are going into the apps of the operators after midnight trying to, reserve a device. And we do recognize that there are midnight shift employees, third shift employees, construction workers that are utilizing these devices. So given all of that, we are supportive, but we have heard that there are concerns from APD just around some criminal or mischief activities that may be happening at after midnight. And we just want to do a little bit of coordination with them to make sure we address any of their concerns. So that's really the only reason we're requesting to hold.
So I don't want to hold this legislation for that reason, because that means that they talking about my kids. They talking about they don't want my young boys on these scooters at night. If it's APD, that's what I heard when you said that. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. She said APD. She said that the Department of Transportation is in favor of this. Everybody else is in favor of this. What I did see when going through some APD meetings, I've seen them show videos of young boys riding scooters at nighttime in certain areas of the city. And so I definitely don't want to hold this legislation for that purpose. I've had constituents reach out to me because of all of the infrastructure upgrades we've had in the city of Atlanta with protected bike lanes. And my pie in the sky is to get you from downtown Atlanta to the Atlanta airport on the Beltline going through District 12. You don't got to drive a car or get on MARTA. You can walk or take a scooter there. So if the only reason we're holding this legislation is because APD is nervous about young people riding scooters between 12 and 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. If that's the only reason, I think my young folks are riding these scooters to get home. I actually know a young person who was on it, who was downtown Atlanta, was stuck in Midtown Atlanta in the hotel district, and he needed a ride. He needed a way home. The scooters would not connect for him after 12 p.m. And luckily, that he had somebody that can come get him, but the things that were on his mind at that time period to get home, we don't never want on their mind. So I want to push this legislation forward. Motion to move forward. You had some questions. I apologize.
And in response, if I may, Solomon Cavanis, Commissioner, ATL DOT. Just for clarity, I want to frame the concerns and the hold not entirely on the concerns of APD, their safety concerns. So the impetus for putting the curfew had to do with fatalities and safety, and we want to make sure that before we change, safety's first, and that we're all on the same page and we've done the work. So I don't want it necessarily to be about APD, but more about safety.
I heard her. I heard what was said to us, and which the quotes were not around. The quotes were actually so supportive that I was watching for the hook, right? Because I got hit with a hook at the end that was the reverse of what all of the stuff she was saying at first was. It was first, we support this, the infrastructure's gotten better, we've seen this, we haven't seen injuries happen at night between the 9 and 12 when we extended it. And so all I seen was the bowling ball going down the alley. And then I heard APD is concerned with young people at night.
Well, and I'm sorry, council member, the intention wasn't about their particular perspective other than Atlanta Department of Transportation making sure that we follow up because there have been safety issues in the past, and before we move it forward, we want to make sure we have.
And I think y'all are doing an amazing job. Even right now, I think the administration would probably, or APD would probably have to answer those questions, because everything that the department just said sounds amazing reasons why I put in this legislation. And so to get a hold coming from APD side, and it's not about the infrastructure, because we develop infrastructure and we're going to develop even more infrastructure. If it's just about my young boys, my kids around trying to get home at night, let's open up these scooters again.
Yeah, it's not about that, but I absolutely hear Councilmember Lewis. And I'd really like to hear Councilmember Wan's take on it. I see, yes.
Councilmember Wan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, I would want to hear directly from APD as to what their concerns are rather than what's just been relayed. But more importantly, I did not hear that you said that there were no accidents or fatalities. What I heard you say was there was an increase in usage of 13%. So that's another data point that I want. We put that the limit on for a reason, but let's see the data about over the time when we expanded it out to cover the 9 to midnight, what that data looks like. And I'm sure it's fine. And when we do have all that complete data and we're comfortable with the safety, then I'll be prepared to move forward, but not without kind of that additional, just one more precaution. The advocates have reached out to me. I'm supportive in concept. I think we just need to make sure before we push the button that, we've thought through and understand why the reasons we did it in the first place are now no longer valid. So thank you. So I'm going to make a substitute motion to hold. I don't know that there was a second on Councilmember Lewis's first motion.
Well, there's a motion on the floor. I'll second that motion. So there's discussion. Councilmember Lewis.
The part of the reason why I put this legislation in is because I'm a scooter rider. I am a scooter advocate and rider since way before I was on council. I'm a person who, and blessed that we get to travel and go to different cities, go to cities that we compare ourselves to. We don't compare ourselves to Chattanooga. We compare ourselves to New York, San Francisco, DC. And if you ride around those streets, those cities, you see people on scooters being able to move around a little bit differently. Also as a scooter enthusiast, right? Not even as a scooter enthusiast, I've seen the changes and upgrades in infrastructure myself. And so I remember in 2017-18, we didn't have protected bike lanes. I just seen them pop up. I'm seeing them pop up coming down Pryor Road. We're looking at Calverton Road, looking at Cascade. And if the only reason, according to the folks in front of us today, I heard, I'm going to go back and replay it again and listen to it again. The only reason is APD is nervous about some young boys on a scooter. That's why I made that motion. That's what she said.
Well, yeah, are you finished? Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. We was in discussion, so we can't allow you to speak right now. So there's a motion on the floor, no more discussion with committee members. That is a motion to hold. Please open the vote.
Vote is closed.
3 yeas, 1 nay. The item will be held. Takes us to the next item.
Next item is item number 19, 24R4291, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to apply for and accept grant funding from the Georgia Department of Transportation for the 2025 Local Maintenance Improvement Grant for the purpose of resurfacing certain City of Atlanta streets in the amount of $4,879,603.49 and for other purposes.
Second. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Councilmember Wan.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we need to move forward with applying for the grant, but because it is LMIG money, at some point, I know we're going to have a conversation about what streets and how it fits into the new LMIG repaving strategy, but let's go ahead and get after the money first, and then
Yes.
we can. So.
Takes us to the next item.
Next item is item number 20. This is 24R4292, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to issue a task order number 1 for RFP-S-121028-2D, General Engineering Services with Transport ATL Joint Venture, to provide certain construction design services, ASR inspection and construction project administration, CEI and construction QA, for the Spring Street Viaduct Replacement Southern Phase 2 project on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation in an amount not to exceed $37,651.97. All contractor work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Mr. Chair, there is a request to file this item on behalf of the department.
Second.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Next item.
If there are no objections, can we take item 21, 22, and 23 as a block?
Sure can.
Okay, item number 21, 24R4293, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to execute a lighting services agreement with Georgia Power Company for the installation of street light infrastructure for the Joseph E. Lowry Complete Streets project in an amount not to exceed $291,856.00. All contractor work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 22, 24R4294, a resolution by Transportation Committee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to amend resolution number 24R3613, adopted by the Atlanta City Council on May 20th, 2024, and approved by operation of law on May 29, 2024, by adding additional account strings for contract number FC 10077, Spring Street Viaduct Replacement Southern Phase, construction agreement with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company Incorporated. All other parts of the legislation are to remain unchanged and for other purposes. And item number 23, 24R4295, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute a utility relocation agreement between the City of Atlanta and Georgia Power Company for the removal, relocation, or adjustment of electrical and communication facilities owned by the Georgia Power Company for Main Street Northwest paving project, and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to remit payment to Georgia Power Company in the amount not to exceed $38,414.00 on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation and for other purposes.
Motion to approve item number 21, 22, and 23. Motion has been made in second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open.
Items are favorable. Item number 24.
Item number 24, 24R4296, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute the second renewal option for contract agreement SS-S-12100105, Airport Survey Solutions Program with Avis America LLC on behalf of the Department of Aviation at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for a term of 1 year effective February 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $591,596.00. All contractor work will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Item is made in second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Takes us to our next item, item number 25.
Item number 25, Mr. Chair, there is a request to amend this item to attach the IPER report.
Second. Motion been made in second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
The amended item is before us. Please read the caption. I think there's going to be some questions, so whoever is speaking to this from the department, please approach the podium.
This is item number 25, 24R4297, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for project number IFB-REF-DOA 2401-1240218, Central Passenger Terminal Complex Restroom Enhancements Phase 1 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with Swinderton Builders Incorporated, with a substantial completion expected to be achieved in 365 calendar days in an amount not to exceed $22,116,901.00. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Councilmember Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Amos. For the department, this may actually be for procurement or the Inspector General's office. The IPER report references some contact that was made between the department, it looks like, or procurement with vendors during the blackout period. And I want just a on-air conversation about this to make sure we're okay. I know there's an explanation in the IPER report, but I think this warrants at least some on-air conversation. So if someone could speak to that, that'd be great.
Tom Nasalki, Assistant General Manager, Planning and Development at the Department of Aviation. From the Department of Aviation's perspective, I'm not aware of any. Unfortunately, that's all I can offer.
All right, I mean, someone needs to speak to this. I don't know if it was Department of Procurement was the one that had communication. It looks like it actually. And it was not just once, it was a couple of incidents. So, yeah, if we could get someone to explain. Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Philippe Jefferson, Department of Procurement, Category Manager. Also here with some others from the department. There was contact made because with the Department of Procurement and the vendor to discuss the pricing. There were some changes that the vendor wanted to make. And so we needed to get some analysis from them to understand why the changes were made.
And so in your opinion, that those contacts, and I just want you to get a chance to say this on camera, but the IPER report states that that did not influence or had no effect on the outcome at least, but it was just for clarification purposes. Is that fair?
That is correct.
Okay.
It was just for clarification.
Okay.
And they were still considered to be the lowest bidder.
Okay. And you affirm that any sort of other contact aside from something like that would be deemed a violation of the blackout period conversation. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Oaktree.
Thank you. Can you go into just a little bit of detail of how, not with what that conversation was about, but how it is or is not customary to talk about, during a blackout period, to talk about specifics of getting specifics or getting clarity, as we just said here? Like what is the limit to that? Because everyone would love to be asked about clarity during a.
I don't know if I can actually speak to the limit.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, is that customary to call and say, well, I need clarity on this portion?
No, it's not. I think in this particular case, there was a delay because of the FAA ruling, and there was some information that needed to be provided. And so the vendor, because of the delay of the time, suggested that there may be a change in some of the pricing. And so we need to get a better understanding of that.
Okay. Does anyone else need to ask?
Regarding the FAA delay, yes, the FAA was delayed in getting us confirmation that we would receive the federal money. So then that pushed out, I guess, the period for which the contractor would have to hold their price. And then I believe that's when they came back, said they couldn't hold the price. They proposed an increase, but the increase, as Philippe said, the increase was still less. The total increased amount was still less than the second apparent low bidder. So the Department of Aviation was okay with that.
All right, well, I mean, yeah. That sounds fine to me. Yeah, I just don't like any flags on an iPro, especially one that says something like that. Okay. So. All right. I yield.
Thank you. With that being said, motion to approve. Yes, motion to approve. Yes. Motion to approve has been made and second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, please open the vote.
Vote is open.
Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Councilmember Overstreet.
And I also like to speak about my vote. It's because specifically it was dealing with FAA. And FAA pretty much needed something other than what they saw. So that gives me a little more comfort there. Thanks.
Councilmember Lewis.
And mine were related to the restrooms. I've been to other airports in America where better restrooms right now. And we typically would have the nicest restrooms in the country. I went to Kansas City, and they shouldn't. I know they just built their airport. Let's go get them. Let's walk them down to. I'm very competitive. I like being number one. So the restroom is the reason why.
Thank you. That takes us to our next item.
Next item is item number 26, 24R4298, a resolution by Transportation Committee supplementing a joint task order fund in an amount not to exceed $1 million and 0 cents for use under 4 managing general contractor services contracts at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for the Department of Aviation on a task order basis. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Second. Motion has been made and second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Item is favorable. Next item.
Next item, item number 27. Mr. Chair, if there are no objections, can we take 27 and 28 together?
Yes.
Okay.
Any objection? Okay, yes.
All right. Item number 27, 24R4299, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Holder Moody Sovereign Davis, a joint venture comprised of Holder Construction Group LLC, CD Moody Construction Company Incorporated, Sovereign Construction and Development LLC, and Davis Brothers Construction Company Incorporated, for a project number listed herein for the parking decks reconstruction and expansion construction management at-risk services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in an initial amount not to exceed $2 million and 0 cents. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. And item number 28, 24R4300, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an agreement for a contract number listed herein for power distribution equipment replacement domestic terminal at Hartsfield-Jackson and Atlanta International Airport with Cleveland Electric Company on behalf of the Department of Aviation in an amount not to exceed $20,493,083.00. All services will be charged to and paid from account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. The IPA reports are already attached.
Motion to approve. Motion has been made in second. I do have one question, and it's a general question, but I guess we can tie it to item number 27. In these joint ventures, I don't know who's going to speak from the airport. In these joint ventures, where do our rules for minority participation in DBEs fall? Do they still have to follow the same requirements as they go after these contracts, or where do it fit?
Tom Nasalki, Assistant General Manager, Planning and Development. Yes, they do. And so when we do one of these contracts, especially the construction manager at risk, when we start off, we put together what we call our EBO roadmap, where we look at each individual trade. Of course, there's an overall goal, but now we want to get specific on each trade. What's the likelihood of a certain amount of participation? Some will be 100%, some's going to be 0%. And so that at the end of that roadmap, the project indeed hits the weighted project goal.
Thank you. So there's a motion on the floor to approve. It made in second. Please open the vote.
Vote is open. Vote is closed.
Items are favorable. That takes us to papers held in committee in which there are none. No walk-in legislation. I believe that brings us to the end of our legislative agenda. We stand adjourned.